Well, last class we were talking about converting redundant numbers to 2's complement numbers, and we talked about computing that using least significant digit first manner. And then we began talking about most significant digit first redundant to binary conversion, and we were talking about how to update xi 0 and xi 1 bar from xi minus 1 0 and xi minus 1 1 bar. So given xi minus 1 0 and xi minus 1 1 bar, so what does this say? This says that this is the 2's complement number assuming the carry input to position I minus 1 is 0. This is the 2's complement number assuming the carry input is 1 bar or minus 1. Okay, so given the carry input to the ith position can be 0 or 1 bar, we saw that if I write down these so-called carry or transfer bits, so the red marked bits are the transfer bits. So if we think about transfer bits coming out of or going to the next position, so transfer bits going to next position, and so this is the digit xi, so position I, so we have xi plus xi minus, so that's the digit, and then we have carry or transfer bit that is negatively weighted, and then we are generating a sum bit and we are feeding the transfer to the next position. Okay, so how can we compute? So from this, so xi 0, so think about this. So xi 0 will be if the digit is 1 bar, so the digit is 1 bar. So this is our digit, current digit. So this digit 1 bar is here, 1 bar. So when the digit is 1 bar, okay, the transfer bit was 0, the transfer bit was 0. Okay, so think about if the digit is 1 bar and the transfer bit and the carry in is 0. So this is carry in is 0 and this is carry in is 1 bar. Okay. So what does this really tell us? It's saying that if the input digit is 1 bar, then the transfer bit going to the next higher position. Okay, so going to the next higher position is 1 bar. So when the digit is 1 bar, so I need to take xi minus 1 bar. It might be a little easier if I call this xi minus 1. That might be a little easier. Okay. Might be, I guess. Yeah. Okay, that might be easier. So xi minus 1. So in position I minus 1, if the transfer digit, well, let's see. If the digit is 1 bar, then what it is saying, if you look at this transfer value in both cases, in carry input 0 and carry input 1 bar, in both cases, it is telling us that the transfer out of this position, that means to the position, well, is 1 bar. So that would be xi minus 1 1 bar, okay, plus this 1 times 2 to the power minus I. So it's saying that if the current digit is 1 bar, then if the carry input is 0, then I take the previously computed value for this 1 bar, which is xi minus 1 bar, and append 1 to that. So this is the previous value. This is what was computed previously. And at this ith position, with weight 2 to the power minus I, we are appending this 1 here. Okay, what happens if the digit is 1 bar and the carry in is 1 bar? What happens then? Well, then the okay, so if the carry input is 1 bar, so 1 bar plus 1 bar, as you can see here, so that's still the transfer out was 1 bar, so I grab xi minus 1 bar, and to that I append a 0 plus 0 times 2 to the power minus I. So this red mark is telling us whether I should select x minus 1 0 or x minus 1 bar. So that's what the red thing is telling us. So this was the transfer out. So that means now we didn't know before. At I minus 1th place, I didn't know whether the I minus 1 or the I minus 1th place I didn't know, but as soon as I am in the ith place, then I do know. And I do know that this carry out was 1 bar. So I take the previous 2's complement number computed so far, assuming the carry input was 1 bar, and append to that 1 if the input is 0, carry input is 0, or 0 if the carry input is 1 bar. Okay, so that's when digit is 1 bar. Let's watch what happens digit is 0. So when the digit is 0, if the carry input is 0, then that says that the carry out or the transfer will be 0. So if the digit is 0, that's here, digit is 0, and then the carry input is 0, that's what this column is. So this is this column. This is this column. Okay. These numbers are what are being appended. That's these numbers. And these red boxes are what I am selecting from the position I minus 1 bar or 0, means I'm selecting out of those. Okay. So if the digit is 0, then I look at if the carry was 0, if the carry in is 0, then 0, 0, 0, 0, that's 0, 0. 0, 0 means xi minus 1, 0 plus 0 times 2 to the power minus I. So that means the 2's complement bit corresponding to this place is 0. If the digit is 0, carry in is 1 bar, that's this column. This is the update of the 1 bar. Then that is 1 bar 1. That means previous xi minus 1 bar is now appended to in ith position 1. And finally, if the digit is 1, carry input is 0, that's xi 0, that's 0, 1. So xi minus 1, 0, plus 1 times 2 to the power minus I. And finally, this last entry, xi minus 1, 0, plus 0 times 2 to the power minus I. So this is telling us how we can update xi from previously computed xi minus 1, 0 and 1 bar. Okay, let's take an example. Let's understand this example here. So this is example from the book, table 14.8 in page 550. So we are trying to convert the digit. So the digit, we are trying to convert the digit 1, 1 bar, 0, 1 bar. Okay, so that's the digit, and this is the most significant digit. So what's the real value of this? This is 4 plus minus 2 plus 0 plus minus 1, which is going to be something doesn't look right. 1, 2, 4, 8. So this is weight 8 minus 4. Okay, so that's 8 minus 5, which is 3, which will be in 5-digit number representation will be 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. So that's what we expect to see that result. Okay, very good. So now let's try to see. So we are going to process. So we are going to compute xi0, xi1 bar. So we are going to compute in parallel, assuming the carry input is 0 and the carry input is 1 bar. So initially we initialize these to 0 and 1 bar. Xi 0 and xi1 bar are initialized to 0 and 1 bar. So in clock cycle 0, okay, let me try to put here clock cycle. Okay, clock cycle 0, clock cycle 1, 2, 3, and let's call this one here as input. So we are inputting these digits 1, 1 bar, 0, 1 bar. Okay, so here is how we are going to use the table that I had shown before. So we are so xi, so we go back to the table. So the input is 1, so the digit now is 1. So if the digit is 1, then what are these values? Xi minus 1, 0, xi minus 1, 0, and then append okay, so 0, 0, 0, 1, so this is 0, 1. Okay, so if you look at here, xi minus 1, 0. Okay, we take that was 0. Xi minus 1 initialized to 0. And here, xi minus 1, 0 initialized to 0 and then 0. Okay, xi 1 bar, 0, 0. And then comes along 1 bar. So if it is 1 bar, then we are grabbing 1 bar. 1 bar and 1 bar, and 0 becomes 1, 1 bar is 0. So this will become, I grab the 1 bar now, which is 0, 0, and then 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, and then input is 0. In 0 case, I grab 0. 1 bar case, I grab 1 bar. Inputs are 0 and 1. So 0, 0, 1. I grabbed 0, 0, 0. Input here 0 and 1. And finally 1 bar. In both cases, I grab 1 bar, which is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. And I append I append 1 and then 0, 1 and then 0, and finally we select this one because we know that at the very last position the input is carry input is 0, so that's the result, which is indeed same as what we expected. Okay, so that's an example of showing how this process works, going through in the most significant digit first manner. Okay, I want to spend a little time completing this whole design, but I think it may be better for me to show you from the book, and you can read on your own, of course, but let me show you from the book how this works. So there's a lot of detail that I think you can spend some time and read on your own. Okay, so we talked about, so if you can zoom into this table, 14.7. So I talked about how to update these variables. Are you able to zoom into this table here or zoom out in your camera? Excellent, thank you. So we use these signals called a minus signal and plus signal, and what that is telling us, the minus signal 1 means the input is negative, minus 1. Input digit 1 bar or minus 1. Plus is 1 when the input digit is plus 1, otherwise these signals are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we have this minus and plus indicating to us whether the digit is negative or positive, and it turns out that it's very easy to generate the minus and plus signals. So if you know the xi plus and xi minus, the minus is xi plus bar, xi minus. Okay, we can do a simple logic minimization and we can get these things. Now what this is telling us here is, are these the bits that we are appending? So the bits that we are appending at these positions xi 1 bar and xi 0. Okay, so those are the bits that we are appending. And where are we appending the bits 1 bar and 0? And if you look at what we are doing here, so these bits that are being appended, for example, the bit appended is 0 is true, which is the exclusive OR, which means it's either, so one of them is 0, the other one is 1. Okay, what does that say? That means it's either plus 1 or minus 1. So if it is plus 1 or minus 1, then this is true, xi0 is true. So xi0 is, so let me show you. Okay, so those are xi. So the whole, and there's a small, so these can be mapped into actual logic design, and we won't go through that. So the way this, think about what is going on in these two cells, the append and the copy. So this is saying x I don't know, the light went out. We can see what happened. I didn't do anything. Yeah. Oh, this is a sense. It's based on motion and timer.
Yeah,
So nobody was moving in the room.
yeah,
That's the reason it shut itself off.
I think so.
We started at 2:25.
Oh, it took no one.
It took 2 hours, shut off in 2 hours.
Yeah,
No movement.
yeah.
Okay. We can continue. Okay. Okay, so we were talking about the generating these minus and plus signals, and then the xi1 bar and xi0, and xi1 bar is the bit that we are appending to xi1 bar, and as you can see here, xi1 bar is 1 if the digit is 0. xi0, what we are appending here, is 1 if the digit is 1 bar or 1. So if the digit is 1 bar or 1, which means either 1 0 or 0 1, then we take the exclusive OR, and then xi0 is 1 in that case. xi1 bar is 1 when the input is 0, so that's either 0 0 or 1 1, and take the exclusive NOR. Okay. So how do we then, so we are interested in designing hardware that will go through these steps that we just talked about, starting with initialization and keep going through this process. And so to do that, we need to these cells called append and copy. So if you look at the copy cell, so what the copy cell is doing is, so let's see what it's doing. So we have the minus and plus signals coming in. Okay, so the minus and plus coming in, and they are selecting either xi minus 1 0 or xi minus 1 1 bar. Okay, so what exactly is xi0? xi0, okay, so xi0, let's take a look at the table. Xi, if minus is 1, digit is negative, then xi0 will select xi minus 1 1 bar. So if minus is 1, minus control bit is 1, so select 1, which is xi minus 1 1 bar, which is what it should do. And what happens with plus signal? If plus signal is 1, what's happening with plus signal is 1? When plus signal is 1, then okay, plus signal is 1, the xi0 and xi1 bar, these are both are 0, okay. If the plus signal is 1, and in fact when the minus signal is 1, both are 1 bar. So let's check that. If the minus signal is 1, then this 1 is connecting to 1 bar, so that's 1 bar, and this should also be 1 bar. If minus signal, okay, so I guess the minus signal doesn't go here. Okay, that's fine. The plus signal, well, I could say this. When the minus signal is 1, we are not feeding minus here because we are feeding plus, And when the minus signal is 1, plus will be 0, and that's the reason why the xi1 bar selects x minus 1 bar. And if the plus signal is 1, this selects xi minus 1 0, and this also selects xi minus 1 0, because when the plus signal is 1, minus signal is 0, and that's how this works. This is basically appending. So we are taking the previous quantities, these quantities. That's what is being appended. Okay. And then finally we are generating these values that I just described as xi0 here and xi1 bar. So those xi0, so those are being copied. So this is the copy, and the append. The append is appending xi0 and xi1 bar. So what is this function of this append cell? The append cell from x plus x minus generates the control signals minus plus and generates the exclusive OR and exclusive NOR that needs to be appended to what was computed before. Okay, so that's really the whole process. And so let's think about how this design works. So now we are interested in the AMSD fast redundant to binary conversion. So the way this works here is we have x0, x1, x2, x3, and then I told you that we need to compute a 5-digit 2's complement number. So we start with a dummy variable with inputs 0, 0. Okay, so these are the cells that I described, which are the append and copy. The append cell is generating the minus and plus, and the minus and plus are being fed down to act as control signals. Okay, these are acting as control signals, and the xi0, xi1 are computed here. So this is the xi0, xi1 here, and then whatever was appended here, depending on this control signal, then I update the next one and I get the next bit. So think about that. So now, how do I design a hardware? One way to think about how to design a hardware, think about introducing these dummy cells. So the real operation going on here is to the left of this, and you can think about adding some dummy cells. Now it becomes a parallelogram. So this parallelogram can be mapped to a systolic array. If you map this into a systolic array in a way that all these append cells are mapped to one append cell, so think about the projection in a way that the iteration vector is in this direction. So all these A's map to 1A, all these C's, these 3 C's and 2 dummy C's, null operations here, 2 C's and null operations, 1 C and null operations. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 copy cells and 1 append cell. And if you map that using a systolic array or any other kind of way you want to think about, so we start with x plus x minus. This is the append cell. These are the 4 copy cells. Okay, so that's, and there are delays coming out of that mapping. And this is the block diagram. And if you place the circuits back of the append and copy, so this is the append cell, okay, and then these are the 4 copy cells with the 2 multiplexers in each, and the very last output we only retain the xi0. So this is computing, so the 2 double paths, there are 2 paths. The top path is computing xi0, bottom path is computing xi1 bar, minus plus are the control bits to these multiplexers, and finally we discard the bottom part, we keep the top part as xi0, that's the result. It comes 1 bit at a time. It's a bit serial design that computes redundant to binary conversion in a AMSD first manner. Okay, so now Now, okay, so we are done with that part. So so now the question is, how can I design a binary adder? So we have talked about redundant to binary conversion. So now let's say that I want to add two numbers, a plus b. Okay, so if I want to add two numbers, a plus b, then let me so I can write this as a minus minus b, which can then be written as a minus b complement b bar, that's 1's complement plus 1 at the LSB, and this can then be written as a minus b bar minus or plus minus 1 at the LSB. Okay, so that is saying that if I want to add two numbers, I can, so I have the bits of A, the bits of B. Now think of this as a redundant number. So now what we are saying is this is binary add operation is nothing but a redundant to binary converter with a negative 1 carry input at the LSB. Okay, instead of the 0 in the case of redundant to binary conversion, you have to keep the bottom one and not the top one. Okay, so that's what it is saying. So that's really how we can compute. So the redundant number here can be interpreted as AI, BI bar. So each bit or each digit can be thought of as the ith digit of B and the complement of, or the complement of B thought of as a negative. Well, but this is a thought of as a negative number. Okay. Okay, so so the value of this digit, is AI minus B I bar. Okay, that's the value of the digit. Think of this as plus minus positions. Okay, so so that's really how we have taken a long path, but that's really how you can compute add operations in a most significant bit manner. Okay, so I want to spend a little time talking about fast binary adders. So how do we really, what is the process to add numbers quickly? So the ripple carry method requires W cycles, or the critical path. Well, instead of W cycles, I could say adds a critical path which is W times T full adder. So full adder delay times the word length. So the carry, if I take A, B, and sum and carry and keep rippling all the way, the final sum. So that's, if the word length is W, that's going to be W times the full adder delay. Okay, so that's typical ripple carry adder. And what is the process of fast adders? So there are numerous ways the add can be computed in a fast manner, and the typical approaches are what are known as tree adders, and the other approach is called carry select adder. So what exactly is carry select adder? Carry select adder says that, okay, so let's say that I have a 8-bit add operation. So these are 4 bits, A and B. So we are adding A and B. Well, I guess I don't really need the one of these here. Okay, here is the idea. So the way it's supposed to work, so if I had 4 positions, I can't start. So let's imagine that this is most significant 4 bits. This is an 8-bit adder. These are the 4 bits. These are the 4 bits. Now let's say that what prevents me from computing this? Well, what prevents me is I don't know the carry coming out of this position here. That's what I don't know. But that carry is not known, but I can compute the result assuming the carry can be either 0 or 1. So I can compute these in again ripple carry manner and then basically compute 2 of these sums. This is one sum and this is one sum, and then feed a multiplexer as soon as, so we compute this is 0. I don't need to double compute because carry input is 0, and then as soon as this is known, I take that carry as a control signal to all of these. So that goes as a control signal to all of these, and then finally I select which of them is the correct sum. So compute both possible cases, carry input 0, carry input 1, and then select as soon as that is known. So that's what is carry select adder. Well, that's the principle of carry select adder. If I had 12-bit adder, same thing. So compute the 9 to 12 positions in parallel, and then as soon as the carry out coming from here is known, and then take the double sum, and then feed this to a multiplexer stage. So that's one way to speed up adders. And we can do that. I mean, that's so for example, let's say we had a 24-bit adder as an example. If I have a 24-bit adder, so this is 6 such blocks, and the initial block has carry rippling through 4 stages. Okay, carry rippling through 4 stages, and then this will introduce one more multiplexer, 1 and 1. So this will be a total of 4 full adder delay plus 5 multiplexer delays. So that will be the total critical path instead of 24 times full adder delays. So if I divide them into 4, if I divide them into 6 blocks of length 6, well, this would be then 6, this would be 3. Okay. But what really is the idea of tree adders, binary tree adders? The very essence of binary tree adders is to compute so let's try to see what is the computation of if we have AI plus BI plus CI is equal to 2 times C. Well, I guess I can put I minus 1 here and I here. It probably doesn't matter. You can put either way. You can put I here and I plus 1 here plus SI. Okay. So what are the equations for the sum and carry in a typical 1-bit binary adder? So So there are many ways to think about the carry out equation, but let me see what the book does, and we can stick to the notation in the book. That might be helpful in keeping the same notation will help you read. Let me see if I can find where it is. Okay, so the appendix E talks about, okay, let me write that down. So you can read that in appendix E, which is page 754, 755. So you can go to that page. So, so the first thing we compute, so let me write down SI, the sum, is equal to AI exclusive or BI exclusive or CI, and then this CI plus 1 is equal to, well, CI plus 1 is AB plus AC plus BC. Okay, so I can write that as AI BI plus CI times AI plus BI. Okay. So, so the way we compute fast adders is we go through a process of called PG logic, carry, propagate, and carry, generate. So these terms, carry, generate, and carry, propagate, okay, let's think about what this is saying here. So if we had A and B 0 or 1, so this is AI, BI, and we got a carry input C, okay, we got a carry input C in, and that means the carry out will be equal to carry in. Okay, that's the idea of carry propagate. So the carry is being propagated to left. Why did I say that carry out is equal to C in? Let's take a quick example. So let's say the input carry was 0. Then 0 plus 1 plus 0 is 1. So this is going to be 1. And carry out is 0. Let's say the carry input was 1. 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. Carry out will be 1. And this is going to be 0. Okay. So that means doesn't matter what carry input is, 0 or 1, that same thing propagates. When one of them is 0 or 1, that's the exclusive OR. And we say that carry is generated when both of them are 1s. Both of them are 1s, then the carry generate is 1. We generate a carry. So here we are propagating a carry. If the inputs are 0 or 0, 0 times 0, inputs are 0 times 0 or 1 times 1, we are generating a carry. So there will be a carry generated which is 1. There will be a carry generated which is 0, which is A times B. So these two, so this 0, 1 is the same as 1, 0. It doesn't matter. So that's what we call carry generate and carry propagate. And now using these equations, I can say that SI can be written as, so this thing here is PI exclusive or CI, okay, Pi exclusive OR Ci, and it turns out that Ci plus 1 can be written as Gi plus Ci times Pi. Okay, so it's not obvious, but if you, it may not be obvious, but you can see that there is no harm in writing down. You can do a Carnot map, and you can see that Ci plus 1 can be written as Gi plus Ci times Pi. Okay. So that's, I didn't prove that, but that can be done, and it can be shown that that's logically equivalent. So whether I have Ai plus Bi or Ai exclusive or Bi, these are logically equivalent. Okay, so how do we then generate the fast adder? So the way the fast adder works is we generate, so we take Ai, Bi, and generate P and G. Okay, so once we generate P and G logic at every stage by using these equations A times B, A exclusive or B, then we have a carry generator process. So we generate the carry. Carry is generated in the ripple carry case. If we take the simple ripple carry case, Ci plus 1 is Ci times Ci plus 1 is Gi. So I would have Ci, so I generate the carry. So we generate carry. Carry output is, so in this case, G plus, so let's call it Pg. Initially it may be 0, so we can simplify. If this Ci times, if the C input is 0, okay, so I can say that C1, so I put I equal to 0, C1 equal to J0. So let's call this position 0, 1, 2, 3, and then C1 will be same as G1. So I probably should have, well, it doesn't matter really. It might be simply a little easier to put G here that can propagate, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I generate carry. So from here I generate carry. So carry 1 is equal to G0. Okay, carry 2 is going to be equal to G1 carry. So this is carry 1, C1 is equal to G0. Okay, C2 is going to be G1, C2, let me write down, C2 is going to be G1 plus C1 times P1. Okay, this is, so P1 and G1 are here. So P1 and G1 are here. So let's call it P0, G0, P1, G1, P2, G2, P3, G3. Okay, so and then I got C1, so I can now generate C2. Okay, so I can generate C2. And the sum is going to be, so what is sum 1? P1 exclusive or C1. So I can also generate sum from P and previous C. So P1 exclusive or C1. Okay, so you will see that the real bottleneck is C2 comes here, we get P3, C3, and then C3 goes here. So the real bottleneck here is this carry chain. And then the sum will be exclusive OR of At any given time, sum is exclusive OR of P and C, Pi and Ci. So the whole idea of fast adder design is to break that carry bottleneck. How do we break the carry bottleneck? So Ci plus 1 is equal to Gi plus Ci times Pi. So the whole idea of breaking the carry bottleneck is called the carry look ahead, and carry look ahead has been applied in many different ways. There are variations in how they are applied, but basically the look ahead idea is the same. So starting with Ci, so the tree look ahead, starting with Ci, we can compute Ci plus 1. But if I did carry look ahead, then I can compute future carries. So for example, if I want to compute Ci plus 2 from Ci and not compute Ci plus 1, so what do I do? Well, I can start Ci plus 2. Okay, so how can we get Ci plus 2 from Ci? So Ci plus 2 can be written as, so replace I by I plus 1, Gi plus 1 plus Ci plus 1, Pi plus 1. And now this Ci plus 1, substitute that here. Okay, so if we do that, then that becomes Gi plus 1 plus Gi plus Ci Pi times Pi plus 1. Okay, so I can write Ci plus 2 is equal to, let's call this Gi plus 1 plus Gi Pi plus 1 plus Ci times Pi plus 1. Okay, so now if you look at what I have done here is I can write down this in a similar expression like that. So I can say, okay, Ci plus 2 is equal to, so I can introduce a superscript. I can introduce a superscript. So I can say this is equal to, so this whole thing, let me call this Gi with a superscript 1, for example, plus Ci with a superscript instead of Pi, let's call this superscript 1. And why am I calling this 1? I'm simply calling this 1 because the highest index is I plus 1. Okay, that's why I'm calling this 1. So for example, Gi 3, what would be 3? Would be I plus 2, I plus, okay, so that's, so G, if I, okay, we'll get to 2 and 3. Okay, so let's keep it like that. And then I can go through the same recursive doubling, the recursive doubling idea. So I can compute Ci plus 4. Oh, by the way, so this is P, no, this is not Ci1, Pi1. Okay, then I can write this as a Gi plus 2, 1 plus Ci plus 2, Pi plus 2, 1. Okay, so what exactly is Ci plus 2? Substitute that here. Okay, if I do that, then I can write this as Gi plus 2, 1 plus this whole thing here, which is Gi1 plus Ci Pi1 times Pi plus 2. Oh no. Let's see here. I, that's correct, yeah. And then Pi plus 2, 1. Okay. Yeah, so that's Pi plus 2, 1. Okay. So then this can be written as a Gi plus 2, 1 plus GI1 plus times PI plus 2 1 plus CI times PI1 PI plus 2 1, which I can then write as GI plus 2 2 superscript 2 plus CI times PI plus 2 2. So at every given, as I move along in the recursive doubling process, I am computing this thing here. So the basic operation here is this thing here and the product of these here. So 1 and 1 OR to update G and 1 and to update P. And if I go through the same process, I can say CI plus 8, if I repeat that process, is going to be G I plus, so I substitute I by I plus 4. That's how it begins. So this will be G I plus 4 superscript 3 plus CI times PI plus 4 superscript 3. So okay, that's how. So what this is saying, that we can compute, so this equation, final equation, I can compute C8. So starting with C0, so the original sequential equation lets me compute C1. So start with C0, I can compute C1. This equation here, start with substitute I equal to 0, I can compute from C0, I can compute C2. From, if I use this, I can compute C4 from C0. And if I used this, I can compute C8 from C0. Okay, so that's really the very basic idea of the recursive doubling or tree look ahead. And so if we think about, there is a lot going on that I didn't show, because every time we have to compute this. So remember, I showed you here. Okay, I think something doesn't look right. No, I didn't. Yeah, this something doesn't look right, because I didn't mean to use 1 as this index. What I meant really is this 1 as the first level recursion, and here 2. So I think these things are, yeah, I didn't do it right. So I should be using 2 here. This 2 really is the second level recursion, and 3 is third level recursion. But what I should have used here is G, the highest index here, which is I plus 1, I plus 1. Okay, you can work these things out. So these indexes will change a little bit. But let's see. So let's just take a quick look in the book about these ideas. So the carry select adder, PG logic. So we take 8 bits of X, 8 bits of Y, PG logic, and then assuming carry input is 0, we compute 4-bit carry generator. As soon as that carry is known, it goes through all these multiplexers, it goes through all these muxes. I am computing from these most significant 4 bits, I'm computing possible sums by rippling carry, assuming carry input was 0 and 1. As soon as this is known, I use that as a multiplexer control signal to all of these, and finally get the last 4 digits of the sum. So that's the idea of carry select. Okay, so the fast binary adder are the so-called tree adders. The tree adder is based on binary look ahead idea, or the okay, let's see here. Okay, so this is the binary look ahead, or the tree based adder. So if you look here, we are starting with P and G. So P and G for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8-bit adder. Initial carry C0 is 0. Simply C1 is the same as G0, C1. By the way, this is showing only the carry generator circuit. Why are we showing the carry generator circuit? Because the sum can be computed as soon as carry is generated. So the configuration of the adder is we take x and y, we compute p and g, we compute the carry generator. That's what I'm showing here. That's the carry generator. Okay. And this is the carry generator. And then there is PG and sum. And finally the sum generator. Okay, the sum is simply computing exclusive over of P and C. So at every position we have P. As soon as I compute C, then I can compute. So for example, I can compute S3 as P3 exclusive or C3, S4 as P4 exclusive or S4, and that's that sum generator. Okay. All right. So so if you think about what exactly we are doing here, by the way, there is a little trick, little logic trick. So there is a little logic trick saying that Ci plus 1 can be written as, so I had initially Ci plus 1 as, this thing didn't exist. So I had Gi, you can't see, okay, I had Gi plus PICI. Now using a little logic trick, I can write Pi bar here. It's not going to affect. It's not going to affect because G and P can never be simultaneously 1. Okay. So it's a little logic trick, so you can do all those things. And what it does, it allows us to compute C using a multiplexer with P as the control signal. That's what it does. And that's why you see these carry updates using multiplexers. Okay. So the carry, so this is a multiplexer here. So if you look at, so what we have done here is, think about it. So we take these pairs. So remember how we were computing these pairs? What were the pairs computing? P0 times P1, and then that G plus P times G plus, let's take a quick look, G times another G times P. Okay, so that became a multiplexer with control signal P. So P should be a control signal. So P1 is a control signal here with inputs G1 and G0. Okay. Same, we do the same thing for every 2 bits at a time. Every 2 bits at a time, we do the same thing. And then we do these things every 4 bits at a time. And here, no, okay, every 4 positions at a time. Out of every 4 positions, the last 2 here don't need anything. And then we do every 4 positions here. Okay, so what are we getting here? C1, we get C2. Recall here, this C2 is, as soon as C2, okay, think about it. So using C1, I compute C2 using straightforward equation that where I'm using here the equation such that Ci plus 1 is computed from Ci. Okay. How do I compute C4? The way we compute C4 is I'm using the equation Ci plus 2 computed from Ci. So substitute I equal to 2. I compute C4 using C2. That C2 is used. And then how do I get C3? C3 is used from C3 is computed from C2. That's using the equation, original equation, Ci plus 1 from Ci. Okay, how do we compute all of these? So first, C8 is computed from C4. C8. So C0 is used to compute C1. Then C0 also used to compute C2. C2 is used to compute C4. C4 is used to compute C8. Okay. What's going on in between? Okay, C4 is being used to compute C8. Same way I can compute C6 using C4. Why? Why is that? I can use the equation Ci plus 2 from Ci. Okay. That's good. What about C5? It's computing C5 from C4. That's the equation Ci plus 1 from Ci. 5 computed from 4, distance 1. 6 computed from 4, distance 2. How is 7 computed here? How is 7 computed in this diagram? We computed 8 by computing from C4. So how do I compute C7? So the way we compute C7 is same way as let me take a look. So C7 is computed from C4. So we compute C4 and we compute C7 from C4 with distance 3. And that needs one more equation. Okay, so if you follow all these steps here that's described, I'll leave it to you to go through all those things and play with these carry look ahead ideas. And carry look ahead can be applied in many different contexts and many different ways. So I think it may be a good idea to just go through this paper here from long time back. So this paper describes some generalizations of these carry look ahead ideas in a way that really uses the combinations of carry select and so-called modified tree. Okay, so by the way, if you are interested in fast adders, there are many ways of. So the carry select, I talked about that. Manchester is really not a fast adder. It's a slow adder, but nevertheless was proposed long time back. Carry look ahead, binary look ahead, and there is something called carry skip, and there is also something called conditional sum. So the carry skip idea is similar to the carry propagate. So instead of thinking about carry propagate, it thinks about carry skip. We won't go through those things. But really what this paper does, it goes through these kinds of ideas. So I started by talking about, let me see if I can use the computer so we can zoom out and I can quickly walk through and describe some ideas without going through a lot of details. Okay, so we will go through quickly and talk about a few ideas. So the whole paper here is using this redundant idea. So what I described before, I can say A plus B is written as a redundant number. You can think about that and add a -1 at the LSB. So similar to the P and G, we have a recoding circuit. So the rewriting circuit here generates, so it takes x plus x minus at any position I, and it recodes to compute recoded plus recoded minus, and what it does, it rewrites 1 1 as 0 0. So we are trying to eliminate the non-unique representation of 0 for the digit. So 0 can be represented as 1 1 or 0 0. So we are trying to make it unique so that 1 1 is rewritten as 0 0. So this is kind of the recoding which you may think about as PG logic in the case of simple without using redundant numbers, that's same as the PG logic in the binary 2's complement numbers. Okay, so we talked about the redundant to binary conversion. I take a number x0, x1, x2, x3 with the plus and minus bits, and when we were going through the redundant to binary, I had the initial carry input as 0. Instead of the initial carry input 0, if I make that 1, which is really 1 bar or -1, then we get the 2's complement sum. So the add operation can be thought of as a redundant to binary conversion with input carry as 1. Okay. So, let's talk about how is, so there is a diagram in part B that shows, so let me just zoom out to that. So taking carry input Ci, we can get carry I plus 1 using a multiplexer here, similar to the PG logic that I showed. Here the multiplexer inputs are Xi plus bar, Xi minus. And the sum is also computed using a multiplexer. It's either Xi plus Xi minus or its inverted value. So, okay. Let's take a look at if I can go through some of the basic ideas. So the PG logic is replaced by recoding, carry generator, sum generator, same configuration. Everything in this paper is based on using multiplexers. So the multiplexer, one multiplexer selects in 1 or in 2, depending on select is 1 or 0. Okay. If I have a box with 2 inputs, 2 outputs, then that box is computing out 1 from in 1 and in 2 using select 1 as a control signal. Out 2 is computed using select 2 as a control signal. So instead of showing 2 separate multiplexers, this is shown as a black box. What is going on in this diagram? Here we are showing we have 2 select signals, select 1, 2, 4 inputs, in 1, in 2, in 3, in 4. The out 1, out 2 equations are the same as before. So these are same as before. And now we introduce out 3, out 4. Out 3 is computed from select 1, control signal inputs in 3, in 4. Out 4 is computed from select 2 control signal inputs in 3, in 4. Okay, so finally the carry generator circuits are all implemented using multiplexers here, using the tree type idea. So this is tree based carry, and there is it's good to learn some of these recursions, but I won't go through these in detail. So we are showing here how to compute I plus 2 from Ci, I plus 4 from Ci, and so on. And this is the similar diagram for the tree where we are computing C0 is assumed to be 0. So this is similar to the circuit that I showed you just now in the textbook appendix C. This is from the textbook appendix C, but in the context of redundant numbers. Okay, so this is carry select block with 3-bit width, 3 bits. So that's that. Let me see if I can go to some of the diagrams. 8-bit carry select. Okay, so we call this design configuration 3, 3, and 2. This is bit number 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, and 0, 1. So this is divided into 3 blocks, 2 blocks in the LSB and 3 blocks in the other parts. Okay, and then simplified version of figure 8, 8-bit tree type carry generation. Okay, we have talked about this kind of thing before, and what it is showing here. This is, so in a tree design, this is what is a tree design. C0 is used as a control signal to compute C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, and we have these computations here. Okay. And if you look at this figure 11, that is very different from figure 10. So this is what we would call a modified tree. Why is it called a modified tree? Because Here I'm using C2 to compute C3. I'm using C4 to compute C5 and C6 and C7. And why am I doing that? Well, what it does by doing that, I am able to eliminate some of the extra circuits. So if you look at, there were 4 boxes here. Let's see how many boxes are here. So 4 boxes. Out of those 4, I've eliminated all these 3. I've eliminated them. I don't need them. Why don't I need them? Well, I don't need these 3 because I'm not computing these carries from C0. I am internally propagating C4 to compute those carries. So I eliminated these 3. And what's the advantage? Why am I able to do that? The way I am able to do that is really because of latency matching. We are trying to trace through the critical path from the position 0 and making sure that we can design it in a way that it's latency matched. So if you think about keeping these 3, I don't really benefit. So, okay, let's talk about this. So what is the latency to compute C6? Or for that matter C7. So the latency to compute C7, I start here. Okay, so I come here, but this comes from here, this comes from here. So 1, okay, this is really 1, that result is fed here 2, and that result is fed here 3. Okay, but let's see if this is really 3. It's not 3. Why is it not 3? Because this has control signal now from here, which is coming from here, which is coming from here. So if I go back, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So up to now the latency has become 5 and plus 1 is 6. So the total latency is now 6. So by eliminating those and using C4 as a carry, if you see what I am doing here, so start here, 1, 2, 3, 3. And then this goes to C7, 4. The total latency up to this point is 4. So let's take all the paths. 1 coming here. No, it's not. Okay, 1 coming here. No, here. 1 coming here. And then 2. And then 3. So that 4 is bigger than 3. So that's how we throw out those things. We latency match. And this is really the modified tree. And then this is called hybrid tree and carry select. Some parts are tree, some parts are carry select. So the tree and carry select combination is called hybrid TCS. And if we look at the some of the final designs, so we are able to reduce. So if you look at what we are showing here, if the word length of a binary adder was 64, then we are arranging these in this configuration. This is carry select cascade 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and finally 8 because I add up to 64 at that point. And the total carry select latency is 11 in this case. Okay, how many blocks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. If I used carry select modified tree, the first block is simply 2, next block 2, then 4-bit modified tree, 8-bit modified tree 2, 16 modified tree, 32 tree type, and the latency is reduced to 6. So everywhere the design is latency matched. That's the whole principle of construct minimum latency. So it shows how to select those different types of carry select widths, something that was not considered before. In the past, people talked about carry select widths to be same. What we are showing here is they can be different. And by doing that, we can reduce the latency, we can reduce the power consumption of these adders and the power latency product. So for example, for a 16-bit design, you can see your different configurations have different power consumption, different latencies, and different power latency products. So I won't go through this in detail, but that's kind of the basic idea. So I will stop here today, I will stop here, and next week we will talk about new topics. So we have spent time talking about adders, multipliers, and fast adders, and redundant representation. So we will talk about new topics next week, which is the last week of our semester. Okay, see you in class.